Nancy Pelosi threatened this morning that the U.S. House is going to impeach this bastard over his role in the mob attack on the Capitol if he doesn't resign. Her word was immediately. And I think she said this morning. Well, here it is, 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday. The orange son of a bitch is still in office, I think. Pelosi was appealing to Republicans to join her to force this monster out of the presidency. He still has 10 days, 11 days, 12 days. I mean, the whole planet could be blown up. And in a letter to members of the House, she mentioned Nixon's resignation when Republicans went to him and told him his ass was going to be impeached and convicted if he didn't just spare the country the agony and resign. And he did. Anyway, she called, in her letter, according to the New York Times, she called Trump's filth, his actions on Wednesday, quote, a horrific assault on our democracy, end quote. Well, of course. But his election was a horrific assault on our democracy. I know Pelosi knows that, and I know you know it, gentle subscriber. We know this. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you didn't know it. But where was the leadership of this country? No, I'm serious. The financial leadership, business leadership, industrial leadership, political, military, academic. Oh, I know there have been lots of letters signed by lots of huge groups of law professors and former prosecutors and former secretaries of defense and former this and former that. And what good does that do? What good did it do? It just made the orange bastard even more prone to his psychotic actions. Pelosi wrote, quote, this is her letter to members of the House, including the Christian fascists. Now, remember that half the Republican caucus in the House continues to back this filthy bastard Donald Trump. But this is what she wrote. Today, I guess she wrote it on Wednesday. Today, following the president's dangerous and seditious acts, well, no, she meant on Wednesday, Republicans in Congress need to follow that example, the Nixon example, and call on Trump to depart his office immediately. If the president does not leave office imminently and willingly, the Congress will proceed with our action, end quote. Well, if the Christian fascists and Trump and the white thugs in this country, the prick boys and the cucumbers and the rest of these psychotic fucks, if they've learned one thing, and trust me, they have learned this, is they can act with impunity. Because when pressure is applied to these American fascists, they start to squeal like the little goddamn pigs that they are about their rights are being denied them. And then everybody backs off. Ooh, let's back off now. Let's not upset the little fascist son of a bitches in this country who want to end this country. I have, over the past couple of years, and especially over the past several months, have come to realize that there's a lot of truth to what I think it was Mao who said, real power comes from the barrel of a gun. Yeah, I'm just about there. I don't want to upset my peace-loving listeners who have been with this program in some instances for 15, 20 years. I don't want to upset you with that kind of a statement. But the bottom line for me is I have reached the end of my rope, because I see I have had a front row seat, like you have, like we all have, if we've been paying attention. We've had a front row seat to what happens when members of a society, big numbers of a society, decide that they're going to cause disruption and try to overthrow a government. In the case of the United States here, this whole thing is engineered by Christian fascists. But they've decided they're going to overthrow government, and they use the instruments of democracy in order to protect themselves from retribution, protect themselves from being stopped in what they're doing. So as long as we live in a democracy that has within its borders people who are so fucking insane and choking to death on their religious bullshit and their political bullshit that is pumped into them 24/7 without let up, coast to coast, border to border, is the pig man still alive? God damn it, Rush, die, will you? What the fuck is taking you so long? But Limbaugh and the rest of these people who have been spreading this garbage, and these Christian mega evangelical church pastor, I don't know, spreading this stuff constantly to the point where the country's broken. I have always believed in, and I came to it in a very difficult way, but so I shouldn't say always. Over the course of my life, I came to believe that peaceful disobedience, peaceful resistance, what John Lewis called good trouble, was the only tactic in trying to repel fascism or hardcore religious conservatism. But I don't think it works anymore. I don't know to what degree it did work. Passive resistance. I don't know. I really don't. Maybe, like me, maybe you are having some of your hard fought for beliefs crumble. If those beliefs included the idea that nonviolent resistance was the way to go. How many people who advocated nonviolent resistance were killed by violence because they believed that what they were doing protected them, in a manner of speaking? How many? I mean, seriously, you can start with Jesus of Nazareth. And you can mention Gandhi, Steve Biko, Dr. King, Teddy Kennedy, maybe JFK. I mean, just on and on. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.